Hello and welcome to Kalam IS. This is news simply put, dated 21st December 2024, and let's get started. The topics for today are the Mumbai smog, the Dasanayaka visit, and then it's about the Indian rupee that is falling against dollar. These are the clippings that can help you locate better, and let's get started. The first is about the India Sri Lanka engagement. Now, this is the news because the President Anura Kumar Desainaka visit has been the first visit after the presidential election, and this is important because the reassurance has come from the president that the territory will not be used for any anti Indian activities. This is a change in stance from the previous government, and that is why this is important. Now, the joint statements have also been issued, which show their commitment to regional stability and security. Now, the discussion highlights were basically on reconciliation and reconstruction. Now, since Sri Lanka was in a crisis for the last few years, India's proactive engagement and India's support has got this stance today that now the countries are focusing on reconciliation and engagement, right? There is a full implementation of the Sri Lankan constitution, and prevention council elections is also what Modi has been expecting. Going forward, what is the response to Chinese influence? So now the fact that Dissanayaka has said that the country's territory will not be used, sorry, the country's territory will not be used for interests against those of India's, shows that there is a reassurance to India, and that also is a signal indirectly to China, right? And that is also because of the previous concerns over the Chinese research vessels visiting Sri Lanka. So we know that there is this Hambantota port which was leased to China under the debt trap diplomacy for 99 years. So there, in the name of research vessels, the lot of ships were parked and that were assumed to have some military connections. So in that context, this assumes significance. Having covered the important issues, there are also some other fringe issues that are the points of concern as the Tamil minority issues. So we know that broadly there are three issues when it comes to India Sri Lanka. One is about the China factor, then it is about the Tamilians, and then it's about the fishermen. Right? And obviously, there's also the constitutional thing. So, there is a 13th and a 14th Amendment kind of a place in Sri Lankan constitution, which somehow fails to get proper implementation. So these are the four issues which are concerned with India Sri Lanka relationship. So now having dealt this, there's also a talk about the Tamil issue. So there has been no commitment to implement the 13th Amendment empowering Tamil minorities, and that is what basically Prime Minister Modi ji had also reiterated in the visit, to kind of take this constitutional amendment forward in the sense of the constitutionalism spirit forward. So Dissanayake stands against investigating alleged war crimes from civil war. It's basically the opposition to the investigation. Going forward at the bilateral development cooperation, so there is a recognition of India's role in Sri Lanka's economic growth, and also there's a focus on housing projects and renewable initiatives. So these are the initiatives on a bilateral front that are taken forward, and there are also connectivity issues and initiatives that India and Sri Lanka will take together. So one is the ferry issue. So the resumption of ferry services between Nagapattinam and Sinthurai are the further exploration stances, and there's also a project that will basically rehabilitate the port, which is the Kangi Santhurai port, right? So besides the fact that there was an assurance for China, right, and there was the issue about Tamil discussion, the other things that came up was the constitutional part, the part that they will work together on connectivity, the part that they will work on basically the socio-economic part and the housing part, right? And the fact that now this is going to be a beneficial partnership is what the issue is about. Going forward is the Mumbai's current air situation and the quality issue. So Mumbai is covered with fog. It is generally the case with Delhi, right? That there is a huge cover of fog due to various issues, be it stubble burning or Delhi's own pollution problems. The case now with another metropolitan is a case of concern. Why is that the reason? So basically, this is one of the worst air quality, right? And it has almost peaked to 199, and currently it is around 187. And why is that happening is because of various reasons. First is the meteorological factors. So currently there is low humidity, generally due to the kind of landscape Mumbai has, which is in close proximity with the sea. There is a lot of humidity in the air, right? And that humidity allows what? High humidity basically clumps around the pollutants or the particles, right? And this is the humidity part which clumps around the pollutants. But however, currently there is low humidity, so there is low moisture content around the pollutants, and that is why this effect kind of exacerbates. Next is the temperature change. So decreasing temperatures are observed with little to no sweating among the residents, right? And similarly, the wind patterns are very high. So there are high vertical and horizontal wind speed. So what happens is that when there is a very high wind speed, so the pollutants they get carried upward, right? And they reach to the point of inversion. So suppose यहाँ से हमारा ground है, right? And due to high wind speed, the winds are traveling up in the atmosphere, and then they reach a level of inversion. Now beyond this the winds can't travel, so here they kind of settle like a cloud, and हमें ऐसे ऊपर से लगता है जैसे कोई एक फॉग का बहुत ही बड़ा एक गुब्बारा सा बन गया है, और ऐसा बहुत बड़ा सा हेजी सी फीलिंग आती है, क्योंकि यहाँ से अब विंड आगे जा नहीं पा रही इन्वर्जन लेवल के बियॉन्ड, एंड यहाँ पे इकट्ठा होना शुरू हो जाती है. सो दिस बेसिकली कॉन्ट्रीब्यूट्स टू हेज, as pollutants they get accumulated near the inversion layer, right, as they travel up, and this traveling up has increased due to the high vertical and horizontal wind speed, right? So this is the natural factor. There are other pollution factors also, which are the anthropogenic part, and obviously they come from vehicle construction activities and the industries that we do. दे आर ऑल्सो मेकिंग इट वर्स. एंड ऑल्सो नाउ लोग ये भी कह रहे हैं कि आप जो बता रहे हो वो ख़राब है, आप ना सपोज आपकी मेजरमेंट तरीका ही ख़राब है, जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना कि आपका स्केल ही गड़बड़ है, अपनी गलती मान लीजिए, कभी कभार हम स्केल को ही गलती दे देते हैं. तो यहाँ पे भी थोड़ा सा बोल रहे हैं वो लोग कि ना आप लोगों ने ऐसी ऐसी जगहों पर मेजरमेंट किया है जहाँ पर एक यू आई शायद कभी कभार सही आए ना, कभी कभार इसकी बेसिकली ना एक्यूरेसी पे डाउट हो रहा है, राइट. तो बेसिकली तीन चीज़ों के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. नेचुरल के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं कि नेचुरल रीजंस क्या हैं, जो मैंने बताया विंड बहुत तेज़ चल रही है तो वो वहाँ इकट्ठा हो रहा है. देन इट्स about the pollution and the anthropogenic part, right? So one is natural, then other is about the pollution and anthropogenic part, and then they're also doubting the accuracy of the measurement scale that they have. So these are the three things. Then there is a regulatory oversight. So what to do about it? So first is the call for greater enforcement on construction and vehicular emissions. Then is the addressing the lack of adherence to norms in major infrastructure projects, and then is the need to improve air quality monitoring and data management system. These are the regulatory oversight mechanisms. Next is about the conclusion and the impact. So the combination of environmental factors and pollution source is severely impacting Mumbai's air quality, and therefore immediate actions are needed. Right now, going forward is the fact about India's depreciation. अभी 83 के आसपास था, अब 85 के अराउंड बोला जा रहा है. तो why is that happening? Right, so there are various reasons क्योंकि 85 के आसपास हो चुका है. So firstly is basically, so if this is the demand for dollars and this is supply for dollars, राइट. सो इफ दिस इज़ द एक्सचेंज रेट, अगर ये ऊपर बढ़ेगा तो हमारी करेंसी डेप्रिशिएट करेगी. मतलब यहाँ पे अभी 83 था, अब बढ़ के ही 85 रुपीज़ हो गया, यानी कि इंडियन करेंसी डेप्रिशिएट कर गई है. ये कब करेगी? जब बेसिकली सपोज डिमांड फॉर डॉलर्स बढ़ जाए, तो फिर हमारा नया इक्विलिब्रियम यहाँ आएगा, राइट. तो डिमांड फॉर डॉलर्स कब बढ़ेगा? तो डिमांड फॉर डॉलर्स तब बढ़ेगा ना जब हमें यूएस की चीज़ें ज़्यादा चाहिए होंगी. सो यूएस की चीज़ें ज़्यादा कब चाहिए होती है? जब हम यूएस के गुड्स को इम्पोर्ट कर रहे हैं, जब हम यूएस की सर्विसेज को इम्पोर्ट कर रहे हैं. तो जब हमारा इम्पोर्ट ज़्यादा हो जाता है, यानी कि डिमांड बढ़ जाती है, डिमांड बढ़ने से फिर ये कर्व अपर शिफ्ट हो जाता है और फिर हमारी करेंसी डेप्रिशिएट करती है. तो बेसिकली वो लोग यही बोल रहे हैं यहाँ पे कि हायर डिमांड फॉर यूएस डॉलर्स इज लीडिंग टू डेप्रिसिएशन, एंड दैट डिमांड इम्बैलेंस इज बेसिकली कमिंग because of various things, right? And that is why the exchange rate it tilts in favor of the dollar, right? So what is that demand, right? Suppose आपने गुड्स ज़्यादा मंगवा ली, जैसे मैं बोलती हूँ, या फिर सर्विसेज ज़्यादा मंगवा ली हैं, राइट, या फिर इन्वेस्टमेंट आपका ऐसा हो गया है, तो वही कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे, है ना, आपको गुड्स ट्रेड बैलेंस में गुड्स की बात कर रहे हैं, सर्विसेज में बात करें, सपोज टूरिज्म ज़्यादा हो गया, राइट, या फिर मोर अमेरिकन इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इन इंडिया कंपेयर टू इंडियन इन्वेस्टमेंट्स इन द यूएस. सो इन दिस वे द होल थिंग हैपन्स, right? Going forward is the impact of inflation in India. If inflation in India is a lot, right, देन व्हाट विल हैपन इज दैट नॉट मेनी कंट्रीज विल वांट टू इन्वेस्ट, बिकॉज आपने 100 रुपये लगाया, ठीक है, और आपको 110 रुपये मिलने वाला था, लेकिन इन्फ्लेशन ही 10% जितना हो गया, तो आपको कुछ रिटर्न मिला ही नहीं ना, वो 100 रुपये वापस से 100 रुपये जितना ही हो जाएगा. सो दैट इज़ वाई इन्फ्लेशन इन इंडिया इज़ अ वेरी कंसर्निंग थिंग, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ इंक्रीज इन्फ्लेशन इन्वेस्टमेंट एक्चुअली फॉल्स डाउन. Therefore, there is a capital withdrawal, there's a capital outflow, right? Investors may withdraw money from India if real returns are diminished due to inflation. This is what is the argument, right? Going forward, there are external factors also like trade policies and tariff impact, right? Trade policies from the US could restrict demand from Indian goods, leading to weakened rupee, and higher tariffs also make Indian exports less competitive. So these are the reasons, and the summary of the long trends is that trade has to be corrected, dollar demand has to be corrected, and the valuation challenge is also there, which indicates a longer term valuation challenge for rupee. So that is it, the news with respect to the prelims part. Other than poaching, what are the possible reasons for the decline in the population of river dolphin? So this is a question that can be solved by common sense, right? एंड वाई इज दैट द केस? बिकॉज वो कह रहा है कि डॉल्फिन की पॉपुलेशन क्यों कम हो रही है. तो ऑब्वियसली डैम्स तो हमेशा बनते हैं, ये भी हमेशा बनता है. गेटिंग ट्रैप्ड इन फिशिंग एक्सीडेंटल नेट्स, ये भी होता है, राइट? बट ये जो है पॉपुलेशन ऑफ क्रोकोडाइल, क्रोकोडाइल के होने से क्या होता है? कुछ भी नहीं. मतलब क्रोकोडाइल होने से क्या हो जाएगा? डॉल्फिन क्यों कम होएंगी? क्रोकोडाइल के पूरी डॉल्फिन को एक बार में खा जाएगा क्या? मतलब आप लोग ये सोच रहे हो क्या? तो ये आपको अजीब सा रीज़न नहीं लग रहा? तो दैट इज़ वाई दिस इज़ रॉन्ग. एंड बाकी सब चीज़ें तो ऑब्वियसली हैं कि ये सब चीज़ ऑब्वियस हैं कि डैम्स की बनने की वजह से रिवर सूख जाती है या फिर फिशिंग नेट में आ जाएंगी. तो ये तो हमने कल भी डिस्कस किया था. तो बाकी सारी चीज़ें ऑब्वियस हैं. ये थोड़ी सी एक अटपटी चीज़ लग रही है, तो आप कॉमन सेंस से भी इसको एलिमिनेट कर सकते थे, राइट? एंड द लास्ट इज अबाउट द PYQ मेन्स. आई वॉन्टेड टू सॉल्व दिस एंड पोस्ट इन टेलीग्राम चैनल. This is it for today. Thank you and have